Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Navajo Nation Mental Health Task Force, Hozho Mondays. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. I do believe we have a few people that are still making their way to our Facebook Live. So let's give it a few minutes before we get started. I hope everyone's Monday is incredible and it's a resilient day. I hope everyone is had their breakfast and is having a good lunch. And today our theme is caring for the mind. A healthy mind is a great treasure to find. Yeah, it is. Sometimes I think that we take all of us, every one of us on this journey that we're on. Sometimes we hit those lows and sometimes we hit those highs and we have to balance that out. And sometimes it feels like we are looking for treasure. So I just wanted to say that is our theme today, and I welcome everyone to join us this afternoon. Really want to say thank you, Ahiahat and Sago, to the Indian Health Services and our partners there, our federal partners at IHS. And I also want to say thank you to the Division of Behavioral Mental Health Services, and also to the Office of the President, Vice President, and all of our partners that are on the Mental Health Task Force. So real quickly, I just want to share a couple things with you. The Mental Health Task Force started about a month and a half ago. And as you all know, and I've seen it on different social media posts, and I've heard it in various meetings and discussions here and there, that people are recognizing that a year ago, just about a year ago, we started in this pandemic with COVID-19. You know, it was really tough on many families. Many families, our children, our grandparents, our communities. And so we wanted to provide some resources to our people. We wanted to work hard to see what we could provide as part of learning and teaching. And I want to say thank you to DBMHS. I think that they are working really hard on getting all this information out to you, as well as others across the Navajo Nation, some of our nonprofits and our leadership, our tribal leadership that continues to encourage us each and every day to be the resilient people that we are. So I'm going to get started. Yavanki Billison da Shijinido, Twitch eating Chlido, Sitna Jini, Ada Shija, Dan Lido, Hundagati, Ada Shido, be between Asian Neledat, Lay, Bestich Ijidet, Icy, Ade Jishikedo, a man Schlido, a Nalan Schlesto, Uncle, Ohut a sunshine. Ado a chehan sago anol toshk edo shidina. Nichet one lodo. I see asha jade ba hinsen. Ako a cheha. I would like to let you know that Hozho Mondays, the more bis kana Hozho. Ado every day of the week Hozho ya. Ahot awnihin antin. The nejo ako ba hita nitsin. Ado nana. I wanted to let you know, all of you that are listening, that we do have individuals on the line today that are monitoring all of our comments, and if there's anyone that needs additional resources in terms of mental health and behavioral health, maybe just needing someone to talk to, there are a few people that are working with us here from the BMHS. Can I ask you guys to briefly introduce yourselves before we get moving into the agenda?
Sure. Thank you, Yvonne. Yat e she yukerson sinijini she. Sna jane shla tutoni bashchin ki I dash chedo transain nationale. I reside in St. Michael's, but I'm originally from a little community in Kintlachi called Black Soil. I'll be providing the clinical support with this wonderful series that we're starting, Hozho Mondays. So basically, if you want to talk to somebody or you need information or services or anything like that, that's the support that we're here to provide. We also have some other therapists that are on the line, and I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. So go ahead, Nicolette. But thank you.
Iad sé Nicolette Parish Unisha. Sé twa glini Nishlan Taba Humbushes Chin, Belagana Dash Chedo, Twitch Eatney Dashanella. I'm a therapist here in our Tuba City office. And just like Eucharisten said, we'll be monitoring the chats and providing the clinical support that you need if there is any. We'll also be engaging in the chat as well. I just want to say welcome and thank you for joining us. And we'll go ahead and go to Eli to introduce himself. Thank you. We'll also be engaging in the chat as well. I just want to say welcome and thank you for joining.
Hello, my name is Eli Leslie. Executive Staff Assistant here at the Office of President and Vice President. Mostly everyone will recognize me from doing the town halls, switching it over today to help DBMHS offer clinical support and be monitoring the comments here on the chat on the Vice President and President chat room. So nice to meet you all. Nice to finally see you guys. So hopefully you guys have a good day and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much for your support and all your work, all of our frontline leaders, everyone who's been working so hard in this year to do the best we can for our people. So I just want to say thank you for that. As we move forward, I want to, Shanella, Dwayne, Igay, you are on the line with us, and I want to say good afternoon. And I would like to ask you to provide our invocation to start off our town hall today. Shanella?
Oh, Yate Shanella do Sha. My name is Dwayne Begay. Don't Nanslene Zitlanin Slodo Kia Ani Bashishin, or the Trobajan Ajeda Shadow, Toricine Tashanella. I see na shadow a Trobehuskanda Hasne, a Blaconic Achigo, a pine deal that Hitleko, Ado I see na sha. Na lads idlet that Hashnet or San John that Hasna, Ado I see East Echo. Do Christ all Adledo, Han Kitty Nil Arnold Squash in Neto, she came or Shenigi. Do the Shinido, shall get the Lenido. Art was the East Shendo, the Neto as Twido Sani that this Argo. Do I had a con Lenico and Shanishi, or the Ida, it's horizontal like Hadis and Leco. Aujourd'hui, les consommateurs de Hassan, le compte au compte de skill, le compte à le compte John et on a le compte à le compte access qui access. Adon da e compte lini compte kudo be khadelia do kut a e compte be kut ist an le compte à le compte yosh que isa sanat le shama khash ilki khash wanch che le compte. Ado kon hikeya sallah le compte de nabikeya le compte kudo the Navajo Nation le compte. Adon da epi yedo do le kraj en leni ko bi khada has large le compte e hot a e ko ke huit en le compte. Ado kon leni ko zetlen khani nel bi yedo leni ko hosses nachna. Ado so zel do ko slate the bensa zel na teli zel jol en le compte. Ado e hot a e alelik ho le compte yen ho e hot a e ko ke huit en hot a e ko be na hini tiendo a e ko be ka nature. Do be ka e le compte do e hot a e ko the ne hi khe do hot a e ko ba yato tke do be na hasta do be hot is a de le compte do hot a e ko un za hol jishin le compte do e hansen le compte do ne ko nan kin saladon kin hat salan nan sa kesen ke ina on is hot in cento on hi yin holo on het so den holo le compte ni het gaan holo het so don schaje ne ko do hot a e ko be jo body ne do jo ba win sen do hot a e ko ke yo ne do ko don ke o tla be salam lo ko hot a e ko be ka di be ka do do be ka I je do le ko do e hot a e hon za e ko a e ko be Nasko chanda hoi nako sa chida hat nisi do chida niskre lako. About Hozho Bay and Hozho Bay do be when it eda lako a little bit neither. Harlan Hennet that Odia and the Kagadet Odia and lako to hot on lako. Alashla I need let lako what I concho party ne. Ah, which Leni concho party neto jo Barwinson lako. The yard on Jano con Leni con ecombe. When not can Leniki, Leni con do combe, we hot zido ben hetcha hot otze lako. Janon hard on Nilton Janon Leni con as ke hona as ke not down lako. Because it or hitlit on lako be shot needs the need on lako. Jano econ Leni con econ. Be odil ado le konto hot a kopen het a ot zedo ba city kosto ban si kesto le konto hot a ko kha chinda ko dan nalla da ko da sokke da holo le ko hot an lene kon het a kedon het kamelo le ko do ba tieta do ba china do nada steto le ko jano kon ka halya do don hekeden e do le ko kon genannt ada lene kon a large and dabede ne lo large and handa adon large and haya dashtiko so hodes an lene kon da lene kon nen khata halyanto hot a ekon hikeda des e ne kon hojondo leshen so dishne le kon hot an lene kon be net khayana hot eton le kon hot an le kon hot adon het an geza ado ekon po ohen le kon so dan jonon lene kon hot ako ba honi zedo shot needs to know. A Shalanson, the Comet are echo. I won't shame the console isn't bechat or to be has seat on the co. A bench soid up in the shanid on the comet up in the is tied on the co. Was not all this yet and so the comet up Atosha the Ato air. Don't know how cost don't need to yash need the con who dig has argent the co. Was not all this yet and so the co. Was on the hustly. Hozho Mondays.
Sago Shanela. Thank you. And may those prayers and those words just hit all of us that are on the line and all those that we care for. So I wanted to thank you again, and Sago also for being a part of the first day of the Mental Health Town Hall, Hozho Mondays. From here, every Monday, starting today for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be here to provide you some presentation and some resources for all of you. So right now, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but right now I want to introduce my sisters. Well, one is Deja, I think. One is my little sister and the other one is my older sister. Our first lady and our second lady. First lady, Cecilia Nez, and second lady, Dottie Lizer. They are joining us today and they will be sharing with us their words of encouragement. So I'm gonna move it right on over to First Lady, and then right after that, we'll hear from Dottie. Thank you. First Lady.
Good afternoon, Yate. Shaya Pavilion as Initiate Honishlet is a son of Bush's chain, not Kaidana Dashan, although that should say out of Big Mountain Day, a Yasini Nasha. You know, this whole series at Konde, Nahanahot Ahtoshin Kodo, Echo, Adenek Etrico, Shadi Adenek Etri. Nan tindo adenek etre or inshiki base nessa shimado shaja adenek etre den hitching go ultrago a yakri echo adenek etre nan tinigi arjigo eya when take case the lage. You know, that's one of the most precious things they always tell us. A bean a go late or todilzen ishin at the sihi case. Asian art a yadat ehigi deya go a cut out go but chine a hot out so that is and go hot on he not that on dan hinessa a ko a eben that bantes case go although a hot out ultra go kai ben not shin not tingi a you and Navajo they teach us that our mind is a powerful tool, that it's the most powerful thing that we have in our lives. And from a very young age, we were taught that what we put into our minds, our thoughts, is what dictates what we speak. It's what dictates what we do, our behaviors, and it dictates a lot about how our lives will unfold. So, being that's really just set out to, so that we can frame our days, and that it will, it makes us plan out our days. You go back through your whole day and you reevaluate it. So every single day you have a new clean slate to that's offered to you, and it's an opportunity to grow. And so that's the Navajo understanding and teaching of Nsaha case. And so you build your life upon that, and from your thoughts you get into the planning, and then implementing those plans, and then you go back and rethink about what's working and what's not working, and you can always change it up. So it's just a constant cycle. And then, of course, in my married life, we, way before I got married, my dad told me, he said, one of these days you're going to be married, and he said this to all of us. And he said, before you get married, you need to figure out what it is that you're going to raise your home and your family on. What is it that you're going to raise your children upon? And he was talking about what faith are we going to have? And that's a very important thing, what you build your home and your family upon. And so Jonathan and I, when we got married, we decided that we're going to raise our family on the Word of God. And so that's what we've been doing. And so, there's so many books written out there about how to strengthen the mind. And one of those books that I've read is, Battlefield of the Mind. And that's by Joyce Meyer. And some of you probably have read that. And in there, she talks about just how, you might think it's just a common sense thing, but most of us, we probably never really think about it. Just what an important tool that we have in our capacity, and what we think each and every day, we have complete control over that. And a lot of things out there that we can't control, but this is one of the things that we can control. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you don't really understand what goes through your mind, one of the best ways to find out is through prayer. Because when you sit down to pray, if you're having a hard time figuring out how to pray or what to pray about, that should give you an understanding of, what's going on in your mind. But through prayer, you'll have a good grasp of how it is that you envision your days. And then, of course, at the end of the day, just thinking back about how your day went, and then really just trying to make, it's all a growth process. There's always the next day that you can get up to make those little changes. And those little changes that you do, it's gonna build over time. So just remember that 6 months from now, a year from now, you don't have to be the same person. So I just wanted to leave you with that, and just encourage all of you to continue to pray for your families, and to really be mindful of the thoughts that do go through your mind, and then the words and just what you model for your children, they're going to pick up on those as well. So thank you again.
Thank you, First Lady. I really appreciate those words. And I would like to ask our Second Lady, my sister, Dottie, if you could share your words of encouragement with us this afternoon. I'd really appreciate it. Dottie?
Yes, thank you, Yvonne. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. She'e Dottie Lizer Yenisha Kiani Nishle Mai Dishkijni Bashashin Bedatni Deshache Tkachitni Deshanella. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful afternoon. It's an afternoon that the Lord has made for us, and we need to be glad and rejoice in it. I'm very honored to join you this afternoon to share insights of a healthy mind. Why? Because healthy minds are needed during this time of adversities in this world as we're beginning to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 year after the unforeseen this virus struck in the world, United States, and the Navajo Nation, we somewhat have become defeated and maybe some overwhelmed and some confused at certain times in this past year. Similar to you, I've experienced those feelings. Our minds affect our bodies, and when we worry too much, our bodies don't perform at its best. In the word, in Matthew 6:24, it says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. So I just want to give you a little insight, and this is just from my perspective and some of the things that I've gone through over the years. You know, I have experienced some of those anxieties. I have gone through them. And we all each have our own way of overcoming and how we need to take care of ourselves, especially our minds, because that's what gets us, you know, through our day-to-day walk in life. And so much like you, I've experienced that. And so we do have some doctors on the line. I believe it's going to be Dr. Rigg that's going to come on and just kind of give us some insights and some techniques to help us get through this this time, because we all have gone through this, and you know, I share in that. And so I've overcome mine a lot through prayer and a lot through just reading the word. You know, so I just want to let you know that even as a leader right now, you know, I've gone through that, and we can overcome this. You know, we Diné people, we Diné women are powerful, we're strong, we're resilient. So I just want to encourage everybody out there to stay strong. Find what you will help get you through this, whether it's traditional prayer, whether it's through prayer, whether if it's just talking to somebody, but let's find something. Everything you're going through right now is preparing for greatness. So keep it going, because we need to prepare for that greatness. It might not look great, it may not look glamorous, but that's the process. You know, we get our hands dirty, we our knuckles, you know, if we're in a fight, our knuckles get raw, you know, our hands get dirty, but we're gonna fight that, and we're gonna beat the odds against this. The day will come when your preparation meets opportunity. So be ready with your struggles and your frustration, because you're preparing for what's to come. So just some little insights. Speak over your life. You know, as believers in Christ, he gives, as a believer in Christ, I can utilize biblical declarations to speak over myself, and you can as well. Number one, and I use this scripture all the time, God did not give me a spirit of fear. He did not give me a spirit of fear, but he gave me the power and the love and a self-discipline. That's found in 2 Timothy 1:7. Another scripture is, I prosper in all things. I remain in health just as my soul prospers. Another one is, God blesses me and surrounds me with favor as a shield. And another one, I choose to meditate on anything that has virtue or is praiseworthy. I think about things that are true and noble, just and pure, lovely and of good report. You know, our thoughts and our words shape who we are and how we become. A new habit I've developed in my self-care routine is to speak over myself, such as these prayers. You know, when I could feel, and everybody feels it, when I could feel it coming on, that's what I start doing. I start saying my love and the power of sound mind. Most of the times we focus so much on taking care of our bodies and our appearances, but we neglect our minds. So remember, biblical declarations are a great tool to use in meditation, in prayer, and in renewing our minds. So speak over yourself. Take hold of the promises of God and allow Him to shape you into who He has called you to be. We're each called to be something. Most people can't comprehend the strength it takes to pull yourself out of a dark place. If you've done that recently, I am super, super proud of you. Please know that you are stronger than those ugly feelings and not feeling worthy. Don't listen to the demons of lies. Listen to the truth, because why? You matter. Your life matters. Your family matters. And most of all, your mind matters. A healthy mind is a great treasure to find. So find it in nature. Go for a walk across our beautiful Navajo land. Find it in music. Listen to a good, feely music. You know, those of you who can dance, and I've seen those of you who can dance, get out there in your quiet time. Just dance, you know, because you can dance off those bad vibes. You can dance and be happy in the music. And lastly, find treasure in Jesus. Jesus is not done with you because it's not over. God is still on the move. So thank you for joining us this afternoon as we just want to share encouragement and testimonies about our experience with healthy minds, being the treasure to find. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect by all means, but the difficulties have created us to be better. I'm happy to share those moments with you because you know what? I care. I care about your health and I care about anything that you do because I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm like you and you are like me. We have healthy minds because we have faith, love, and trust each other. So again, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate each and every one of you that are here. So look for your happy moment and stay in that moment and dance those vibes away. Thank you for allowing me today to speak. And I love each one of you. So let's get through this COVID-19 pandemic. You can do it. I can do it.
Thank you, First Lady and Second Lady, for sharing those words with us. And just as I'm sitting here listening to you, I can feel the good vibes, and I can feel the chair underneath me, and I just feel really, really good. So I wanted to say thank you so much. And for those of you that are listening from all over the country, those of you that are listening from other states, I wanted to let you know that as we move into this first year of addressing the pandemic, mitigating the pandemic, dealing with it in our homes and our families, you know, the prayers that we have for each other, that lift each other up, that's really what our nation needs. We need to lift each other up, you know. And so as we talk about our mind today, caring for our mind, I wanted to let you know that all of us that are on this line, and as we have these town halls for the next 3 weeks, I wanted to let you know that many of us, we care for you. We care for you, we honor you, and we just want to do the best we can to provide you the resources that you need. So if you have a question or anything like that, please put it in the chat box, and our staff, all of us that are working, will do our best to answer your question. I wanted to introduce Dr. Nez. She works for the Indian Health Service, and we've been working together for several months now to really talk about planning how we're going to move mental health services across the Navajo Nation. So I wanted to give some time over to Dr. Teresa Nez Ashwada Shada or Shamaya. Please provide us your presentation at this time. Dr. Nez.
Okay. Yeah.
That's Ishama.
Jana has seen that. Do yeah do are that is not agi a bench so get a she bench need this do she yaha Teresa Nez when she do Twitch eating slot do a she a bash chin okay that she naldo touchy me that she che na shadow a yaha Coyote Canyon my take is it ado a shima Kedat and Shinala Tahalon Yaha Mexican Springs Yaha Nake Twa Ada Yaha Shinala Tahalon ko but Kasna Nashua she has lean ko Ahia Quaggy a ko de dish J Yaha Ninsa Kansigi Bahuilia Jo Yaha Baya Delche a ko Dida next Dida the Cosenza nos eta da de Clinigi the Cosenza yaha pneumonia de Schneya. A co bet at Hollo, dod I see Yego na Ichna. A co do Bahunits and then hit me here, Kodo, Nichas on. Lay after March 13th, that Nitran a co couldn't Navajo Nation. The Kaya Paka Iselin. Le December don le aro yaha itan yaha bahonne. Aro nans nasans it abaka Iselin betra. Betra sho kishna halo are push down, hunasi kujit hania. Ako na COVID-19 the Kosentagi nas that they know they use it. Akunde I see Yego bat at Holo. The pneumonia de Shlinigira the tra dinta a hinat nilo egit yahan what a nasnish. Ako benina yaha big a. Oyo niche da hotis na do oyo incidental accord oyo benina ayan dahil yezo ada yaha bi hekre. Next ako yaha panasi aro chenda kain dan hido ni do aro ultraan ni khalchin da ultraan de Needs it ni aro da ultraido le yits aro da haida da nede do lechte da no aro aha wade na iso tra aro haslagun da kaiju jodan hit no ada besh behanne da ben kilta halne ako aro ni na nishta ni na nishkeda has glad Sai ya hawagon dai no ka wisho yat no hostleon that the ara not asnisto dan hit no aro sai ya haidan khan dahanne da aron khan dahanne aro akon da kai ar hajo hawadi na so hajo that not jordan hit no da akut ya ni Nihilta hanne dishid an hin ta huiliani gib shi benina arona belated an hidasat ni tatani goy do sato benina kadishi de big kit ni do to ni adejida ni shadita ni mayajda ni masanda ni cheda ni tsan ta haskre benina Ako a Jana Yishna. Ako to one Nilish Danitsen. Ako ego Yan Hills Ado Sto Danitsen. Ashidatra. Shatin deserts are Bidol na Oshits are then. Ako ani, ye Ako digit on Hilkas Anselin. Kadnache. adishjinded ati ikut akwa ashon azel in alto adel nishu del nish shu ajunashnish. Next. Ako hat ila ela halet alat ela to hat ila hagishat ela juntadi no eban sequence. What are we experiencing? What are we responding to? Why are we experiencing these feelings? Well, the lagonic ethical ano a fight or response. Fight or flight response. Jo AI ne. Diden lene just shagani ke ewa tit atabakohya. They were yet a yaha nashtude the holonle chishka mountains there. Ako are nashtu are hajitni niyago hashto nil ni jeda te dolwal. You'll start sweating. You'll freeze or you'll start running or you're going to go over there and you're going to fight with the bear. So that's how we feel right now. You know, and that's how the level of stress that we're experiencing. Ako pan sitsa cancel you're pinina do Hozho ilgusta. Do pinina da haida do il do pinina da adilne. Because we're at that high level of stress. Next. When you think about it, stress, yeah. I look at stress and I look at the materials. When this is a screening form that we use where I work. When you have a loss of your spouse or when you lose somebody, lost 1 to 100, that's how they rate it. When you lose your spouse, it's 100. When you get divorced or you're having family conflict, it's 73. When you lose someone in your family that's a close family member, it's 63. Arot oyay goth, and you get all the way down to 15. Even changing your eating habits. It creates stress. It creates anxiety. Schools, situations with schools. That's creating stress for our children. Our finances. Some of us are having a hard time with getting money. The stress level is really high. When you think about it, you add all those things up. 63, 100, 47, lay 100 obalaho ira. So all of us this year, and this is just on a normal, without COVID, without the pandemic, a normal day. And so when you think about it, we have doubled our stress maybe by 3 or 4 times. How many of you are not eating correctly? How many of you are not sleeping correctly? How many of you are worried about your children? How many of you are worried about your job? How many of you miss your loved ones? How many of you are worried that we might get COVID? We might also get hurt, or we might have long-term health problems because of COVID. So the stress level is really high. That's what we've been enduring for this last year. That's what we've been dealing with for this last year. Next. So when we do that, yeah, at first, when we were first told we had this COVID, when we were first told, so we weren't that alarmed by it. And that kwagi bahone. It happened to our cousin. Later the whole one I just thought the Tony Glajane. Arun Lejanana Namayajan Nale Batoni Glajane. I just it's on then hat no. Arun the Tani stress level yan oyun hidi sna. Sure. Ye ya de had out of the na shisha achinda bando study no aro ni jegi dandil wasli aro dojo itaran sekhen senta ebi fancy cans aro we start leveling it out y'all short ayat eshashin akwende di quaggy it's still coming at us we're building this resistance. God, we've been at it for a year. Your stress level for 2 months. You go through exhaustion. But we've been doing this for a year now. So we are exhausted. We're not seeing lejabahan now. So easy needs, aren't they? Actually, need quite a good bana alternate. Tried arobada yadashi doshi do nisa daddy. No, we go into pretending like it's not here. Later, not ani. Ada hajona so out no saying it mean Nihishi do nisa daddy. No, it's because we are exhausted. We want to pretend that it's not here. Next. Okay, so when we are in this type of stress, Belagana no need sin cans need see not be yet and need laid on he needs is hat ancient eggy yich on your immune system. They get it it releases what we call cortisol. It's a stress hormone. It elevates it and then it affects our immune system. It regulates itself. You need it takes care of itself. When we're under a lot of stress, it doesn't work very well. Just like the had all changes just needs east and lineage put that I wasn't lay that high level of stress. Next. Binina. When you have a high level of cortisol, that hormone, it starts impacting your brain. Hansingaki, Hansakesigi, Yent Insa. Ako Yent on Ayaha Yenisa on a Nasa Aro Sata Chaznazni Zinset, Aro Bafazin Zena. Ado died, you start feeling sad and you start feeling hopeless. Doyat enado tleta. I said, Oyashmoda. that what dances the cancer when nasi do Hozho dances the cancer do when nasi da azeta na hajit asa aro beninada at hag edaj haj yadalti when nasi o bekehaj haj bekehaj aro when nasi ni glint o when nasi bigai kumbanda altegi edat ebeyat eto legends or ajit dashtiga. Next. Next. Also, we have anxiety. Judy atishne. I see ban so can't. If we didn't have the pandemic, if we didn't have COVID-19, we would be okay. Normal anxiety is okay. But we have been experiencing a lot of anxiety in this last year that we are now at a point where we're afraid, we have headaches, we have family problems, we start having panic attacks, we start feeling pain on our body. We are just having so much anxiety that we really can't focus. For example, let's say today, this is good anxiety. Let's say today I knew I was going to do this presentation. And I knew that I was going to have to talk Navajo and have to talk English as well. And so my anxiety level went up, right? When it's that level all the time, I'm a little calm now, so everything's good. But if your anxiety level is like that all the time, it's not good for you. We have to bring it down. Okay? I want to stop right here and I want to tell you that if you are feeling this and you're experiencing this, please contact us. Make sure that you have the resources that you need, because we are under tremendous amount of stress on top of the stress that we've already experienced in our lives. Okay? So, di ben khashnegi ba hunosendo lech ben ya ben khashne. Do eben ayana yizigi edota. Ba hunoseno shokut ela shola digi inst ela haigila e yashikado. Jin Zomban sits a cancer. Edo died a Halet Alayat Edol Nith. Jin Zomban sits a cancer. Next. A cotide, none at it quit a jail was a Hansa cancer was a do just was a dojo a Jiago o non-jewel was the hojo to starboard at it quit quit or thought what put up on sea cancer when nasi needs is again hatch etaga aro any j yata hos need this not kitten ni j quaggy in out in hidden do jotin while was john hidden ero dine j bata has unfortunately ero dine j zuli bahas bata has unfortunately aro the habita na pedigi dahan watit ada hapedigi nkizile ero dai da hatsanta nihile aro ha ira ji yehen watit ones gusle a hisndalnish wat a bahashne aro dienste zeki da teste zile is it ha ida ada ni yolda benina but ado Sléis de ein de chujo llaile. Ian de yanan de chujo llaile. Do bini na haida is do lelle clort is do gas o de better bunch of jolen den. Dat a went in. Aro had isa ani had in da danes gaile. Do Hajada danes gulha, had wishwan the danes gulha, had sits in the danes gulha. Arota hakageta danes gulha, do ka ita hada at Jahabana, she the haloda the hale. Ako, de had sent had it's inigi, had seen not be yet the Ajana Batishniki. Ey, die geht het uit, nisho. Ebet ado, nichata has a. Ebenina belagana ano eyaha, ado yego, nsa kensi git anache kudas, and old ajo da hasya junhisne. Next. Ako, what do we do about this? Where do we go with it? I know that a lot of you guys are experiencing this type of behaviors. Halet alayat, and on top of all of this, you know, we have trauma in our life. We have all of these issues that we grew up with. We have issues of domestic violence. We have issues of alcohol abuse. We have issues of no income. All of these are already existing in our lives. Ni mada ni jada dojo chadet era ni mada ni jada le alcohol da yake harinta aro da azachin waliagi da akwagi da bikain daily zo kwagi ako. On top of all of that, the pandemic ni kai bakai that puts our stress level even higher, and it puts our health even more at danger. So then we come up with this theory. Dita, when I was looking at this, I thought, you know, this is also the Navajo way. Yat egid evansen kens jo hope dishna. Nijunigi yat ehonaski datligi. Jo ebansi kens. Do het a ya ade idolta. Do yaha het a yaha bichin hitzil dole. Jo edi ge bansi kens. That is hope. That is our Navajo culture. We work very hard at thinking of the future. Next. So one of the things, and I also say this is also a Navajo culture. Nihisa kansigi ba huilya. Nihisa kansigi ba huilyago. Our feelings are good. Lego nenjuno yat eho bansi kanso. Nihizadigi yat eh. Do kwagi hat ibane tagi isto yat eh. Ana nledi si kanso. Do ana nledi haidze. Do ni in kwagi oyo ni ana nledi nahalo naz anhle. Akonde jud neje no eh. Nazad ba ahwanzen. Nan ta kans ba ahwanzen. Yat egi bansen kanso yat egi nishas andoles. Yat egi njonugo. Be ina ideally junhide no put out any yad ni yada ho ayana halis don't anan ledi yat do be just shown linda zahola shade adult anan ledi put off shija ha zida. Next. I got the wellness model. The wellness model. The neja baya tigi the neja banan tinigi da kone. A binda a binda chagato a binda nash deal a binda citizen. I don't let her try to think just so add citizen ja yat good morning. The end the yat epitome. Na san shama no na san shama yat epitome. Traditional chitra. Jo did need hot ya hon tikin. Ado ti hats isiki jut naja honne. Hats isiki ba ahwilya. Hats isiki jono hansa kies ba ahwilya. Puise zini ba ahwilya. Ado ana let the young kid ado ya dansen kies. A pino ata ahwilya exercising jono zati tsao. Akut yaha njono na kwantis kleo. Njono citizen holongo. Akut ya hujo gato. Jo hot yaha the legend dantin. Do citizen do hatal do a chance citizen danjil in ebe ya hujo gato. Judan hisne. Ako abelagana stood hot yastye. Next. Okay, I don't know how much time we have. Oh, I have 2 minutes left. Dide, I want to do something with you that I think is good. Nila jun alashtlai danitlinga. Belashtlai danitle. The quaggy in our wrist area right here. This is called I can. I can walk. I can talk. I don't know if you can see me. I can walk. I can talk. I can hear. I can listen. I can work. The quaggy ebet aya. Auto quaggy sneaky in our hands right here. You hear your heartbeat, yeah. That's your inner strength. I am a Navajo woman. I am a beautiful person. I am loved. I have strength. I have good words. Okay? Aronan Kudanila. I have my mom. We're looking at our resources. I have my mom I can talk to. I have my Che I can talk to. I have my sister I can talk to. Right? I have my job. I have my friends. Akwat aban sitsi cancer when you're feeling down. When you're feeling down and you're feeling sad, you can look at this and say, I can walk, I can eat, I can love. I am beautiful. I am loved. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a brother. I'm a niece. I'm an auntie. And then you can look at your hands and say, I can go talk to my cousin. I can go ride a bike. I have a job. I have friends. I have prayer. I have resources. So when you're in those situations where you feel like things are not working out for you, you can look at your hands and you can say, I have strength and I have resiliency. Next. And I want to thank you for listening to me. I know my Navajo is not the best, but it's okay. But I am working at the Chinle Counseling Department and with Chinle Comprehensive Healthcare Facility. And I share with you my thoughts and my feelings with the understanding that if you're going through a lot of stress, please get help. Talk to anybody. Go ride a bike. Go sing a song. Make things so that your life can be good. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Shada. Thank you very much for your presentation. And those of you that have just joined us, thank you for being with us. Alberta Curley is with us from the Division of Behavioral Mental Health Services, and she's going to also provide a presentation for all of us this afternoon. Just a real quick note for all of you that are listening, let us know in the chat if we are right on point, feel free to let us know if there's anything that you maybe would like to see in a future discussion. So I just want to mention that to you all. And Alberta, Shada, are you ready? Here we go.
Yat e do ha shadeja kodo shadina anigi. Do she yat hudich ni national shin bashish chin. Kia ani da shachedo winagani da shanella. Alberta Curley Ayinishia, and I work as a prevention specialist with the Navajo Nation Division of Behavioral and Mental Health Services. And Adonle Tsik is it Ben A Yisinasha Wide Ruins Klagato area. And I'm currently residing in St. Michael. So so I'm also a member of the Fort Defiance Windarot Crisis Response Team and building communities of hope. So we do a lot of initiatives out in the communities. Koyat Ecuador Shada Sido Anido Hashin Sogo Kun Shama Dr. Nez Kun Yat Eho Ekun Hitna Hasindne Ado Shamasane Second Lady Dottie Lizer Do Shideje First Lady Kun Hashin Sogo Ekun Jono Hatahi So Zi Do Shishin Tokudo Hashin Sogo An Shinan Tien Bains Sogo Kun de Yat Eho Ekudo and Hitna Hashnet Dole. Thank you for this opportunity today as we come together and we welcome all of you across this Facebook Live that we're on. And today we're talking about caring for the mind. A healthy mind is a great treasure to find. So those words are so powerful, and in that case, the way it works is just unique. We were created in that unique way with this picture here with one of the sacred mountains. You know, even just to look at the picture is very, very powerful. It brings back those feelings of hope, feelings of resiliency. Sisna Janet so zilto go asleep the benza jol and joy hashin to go zilna otili hun hashin to go be yito hun nada need hindo yat eo ekunde nade kido needs. And so when we talk about how unique and our being is, it really starts in the mind. So earlier, as my Shema, Dr. Nez was talking, the first slide that came on was a flower, and I could just smell that rose. So you know how powerful the rose is. So just looking at a picture of a rose, you know, you in your mind, you could smell it. You could, you know, kind of know the texture of it. So thinking about that, it's very, very powerful. So today, I'm really thankful I'm part of this this team today to be talking about the mind. Next, please. So my objectives today is the treasure of a healthy mind. What are some risk factors without the treasure of having a healthy mind? What are some of those things that kind of get us off the path of having a good mind? We're going to talk about some of those. I'm going to give you some of that information. And then what are the protective factors? The protective factors to embrace the treasure of a healthy mind. And how are we able to continue that? How do we stable ourselves in trying to work on embracing those treasures that we possess? You know, sometimes we don't realize we're very unique and we possess all this treasure, but how do we put it into play? And then some tools to discover the treasure of a healthy mind, and then some of the references that I have. So next, please. So the treasure of a healthy mind, the development of a healthy mind is spiritual and sacred. From birth, from the first time you took that first breath all the way to old age. Earlier, Navajo Wellness Model was mentioned. So Shabik El is meaning, you know, we're all destined, and our goal in life should be taking care of ourselves, especially our mind, to live that 102 years here on Mother Earth. Hashin Sogoku Niman no Stambaka in Hit Elia. ade kodo ta huilian hashin soje ni mani jan hi halian ni masan ni che ni nalesan ni naleski kun hashin sogo na antin yen ya the whole all of those teachings from our parents to our grandparents to our aunties, our uncles, all those individuals, they taught us something so we could continue to grow and get to that old age. We are only given one life, and we are expected to live it in a harmonious way. And then we talk about resilience, bouncing back, ability to bounce back. I always the Navajo Nation Division of Behavioral and Mental Health Services, we do a presentation on being resilient and coping with stress. And Nathan Jono Shamat, Dr. Naz Yahodna about stress. And sometimes, you know, I always use the rubber band analogy. We get stretched out during the course of the day, or when we're dealing with something. How do we bring us back to this circular motion? How do we bring us back to this round circular motion at the end of the day? Its ability to bounce back. And it's really about the self-awareness, and his self-reverence of having good thoughts of ourselves. That's where it starts, and that's why we say that the mind is very powerful. It's very unique and precious. How do we start to be able to being aware of what is here right now, what we have, what we're talking about? Earlier, Shadeja, the First Lady, said, put on and hit the next. Be mindful of what you say, because it starts in your thought process. You know, every one of the speakers before me, they talked about that, and it's very, very true. Hashin sogo han hun sa case ba hojelia ado has a lab ya just be ata huzinsin. Ishin kui gi olia hashin sogo ho yat eho na shadow le hojon na shadow le you know, you're saying it, and then you're also thinking it. So with that in mind, you know that that's the real powerful words that you've shared. Adosh hashint alda hashint alda snaji kesto le ishiyat elbe najo tatole. We balance through self-care beta huilia, our mind, body, and spirit. Hashin sogo do hut alda and tizda koso the rest of your body doesn't feel well. Or you hashin what and need Shema Dr. Nez Yahodna about stress level. Hashin sugani jada that the do a shin bin nache bada huilna. And that positive self-image, the self-esteem, and the respect for yourself, because it all starts with us, and it all starts the minute we wake up in the morning. What our thought process is going to be, how our day is going to be. We think it up, and then we pray about it. And then the foundation principles and values they're teaching us things, but sometimes we forget, or we just kind of put it to the side, or we take it for granted until you become a mother, a grandmother, a nully, a masane. Then all of those come back. You're going through your file, but it's really nice when you hear someone else say it, and you think, oh, that was the teaching. That was the teaching I need to share with my family, with my children, my grandchildren. So foundation, principle, values, your beliefs, that is all something that can keep our mind healthy. Being optimistic and hopeful, you know, our positive relationship, and it starts with us. That positive relationship starts way deep inside of us. And so although it's easy to think, have positive relationship with others. My grandmother used to say, and my mom says to us, when they mean ata holia, you know, before I thought, oh, okay, I do take care of myself. You know, I brush my hair, I take a shower, you know, all of that. We think that way, but it goes deeper. And my mom explained it, and she says, "Ntin kesido nisabe da holia e atlishne kuiden jono hashi hadent edo." That's part of it. But remember, your thought and your words and your actions, your behaviors are very, very powerful, and they're very, very important in the course of the day. Eben yakudo hat hanat ato and ado anat hat ato anat. So thinking about it in that way, you know, treasuring that healthy mind of yours. Next. So we grow through what we go through, the acceptance of yourself. We all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. We have things that happen in our lives, and we learn from those things. How are we able to be disciplined enough to learn from all the things that we go through during the course of the day, the responsibilities and other things that we deal with, accepting it and making it and growing from it, and then also developing some self-confidence. Ashim bigatolech. Instead of saying she, I'll bigatolech. I have that confidence to do it. I have that, you know, that strength to do something different, to think in a different way, to start to make changes so I can have a healthy mind. You know, those are some of the things that you can tell yourself in the course of the day. And then learning and really analyzing and bringing that awareness to your problem solving skills. Hashin tsugo kung na'antin alla alle hashit ayin sa ado sacho da nada di ath ishehit abigit dt. You know, those are very, very important. And then self-regulation of your emotions, your thoughts and behaviors. What the behaviors that are acceptable and positive are very, very important. Yat ehon soho kesto yat ehashin sogo ajanshin sate oyo hashijit di halet au yat ehman hot elections, or, you know, just having that self-regulation, that self-awareness is important in everyday life. Out of feeling worthy, a sense of belonging, feeling appreciated. Earlier, we mentioned our clans. Ando halet a hut as soon as somebody acknowledges you as a relative. This morning, I went to the Fort Defiance office and I ran into Shanella Dwayne Bigay. He says, yes, Shanella Bedini. So, you know, even that gives you that healthy mind. My grandma used to say that. Those are some of the things that we need to treasure, those teachings, and continue to share it with our young ones, especially that when you find, even when you if you were to get them a clan sheet, you know, they can practice from that. So that gives them the self-worth, a sense of belonging, knowing that they just don't belong just to the little family or just right there, that they have a whole reservation or country full of relatives that they can go to if they were needing some help. And then being compassionate, caring, nurturing, and empathy, those are very important piece of having that healthy mindset every day. Sometimes it could be hard, but just trying to remind yourself, what is those compassionate ways that I can bring out compassion, the caring, the nurturing, being empathy. You know, those are very, very important words. Next. So moving on, more treasures of a healthy mind. The celebration of milestones. When we have that healthy mind, we enjoy, you know, from our birth all the way into old age. We celebrate those milestones as we move forward. You know, we go through a whole cycle of life from birth all the way to old age. be hajdo gato ebe be ejit edolich ebe hajolnidolich ebe hadzidolich. Even down to your what you eat. You know, there was a saying that I think special diabetes is you are what you eat. So just being mindful of what you intake, your self-sufficiency, being self-reliant, being dependent, providing for yourself, but still being able to be humble about it. And then one important one is seeking help for healing based on your belief on Hashin Sugo Naotla. Whatever our belief is, you know, reach out and seek help. That's a healthy mind. Counseling, traditional ceremonies, faith-based, you know, herbs, all those things. Earlier, it was mentioned, you know, dance if you need to, you know, release some of those endorphins, those stressful feelings, you know, even that, you're doing something. You're doing something to help yourself. Practice prevention and safety. In the Navajo sense, prevention and safety is, when we think about that, is you know, those are some of the ways that our elders had taught us. Those are prevention tips and safety on how to keep yourself safe, on not going to where you will be exposed to trauma, to, you know, things that are not good for your mind. And then respecting your boundaries, that's important too. Knowing that you have boundaries, knowing that others have boundaries. What is your boundaries? How much can you handle? How much are you aware of knowing that you can't get past that? And then having a healthy mind is also obeying laws, fundamental laws, and the traditional laws. You know, those are all different teachings in the Navajo wellness model as well. So next. The treasure of a healthy mind. It continues. You're content, you're happy, you're mindful. I picked up a book a couple weeks ago on mindfulness. You know, just reading on things like this is very, very important. What does mindfulness mean? You know, understanding that, be in the present right here in the moment, being here to getting the information out to your precious relatives. You know, that's being mindful. You're right here. Mindfulness is not thinking about what happened in the past, and it's not really trying to focus on the future. I do parenting as well. Fatherhood, motherhood is sacred, and I always tell my participants, you know, sometimes we're so focused on things that happen in the past that when we drive, we look out the windshield so we can be safe and we know where we're going. But most times, if we focus on things that happened in the past and we just keep digging up the past, then we're making ourselves look in the rear view mirror, and the rear view mirror is smaller than our windshield. So when we're going and we're focused on our rear view mirror, then, you know, we're bound to get off path. We're bound, something's going to happen. But if we just kind of look back on our past in the rear view mirror real quickly, and then continue to look out through the windshield at what is before us, then we're a little bit safer, and we're a little bit we're healthier in that sense. Just looking at rear view mirror just every now and then, so we remember some of the things we learned from our past, but looking at the big picture through our windshield. So that's something, even if you didn't get all of my information from this presentation, remember the windshield concept, or even the rubber band concept. So those are very helpful in the course of the day. Having a healthy mind is having goals in life, but being open-minded. So I thank each of you who are on this session for listening in and just gathering some information for yourself, that you're willing to learn and you're willing to grow from those. Having the knowledge and the competence is very, very important. Again, clans make some relatives through your kinship, through your how you're related to others, the holistic being of your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. Very, very important. Next. These are some of the risk factors without the treasure of a healthy mind. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes as we're stumbling or we're going along our path, our journey of life, we're walking, we're bicycling, we're whatever, however things happen, things are right there. You know, that could be, and Shadid, Dr. Or Shema, Dr. Nez mentioned some of these things already, so I'm going to go through them real quickly, which is mental disorder or mental illness, you know, that affects a person's thinking. You know, sometimes we don't realize it, but it disrupts a person's ability to work, carry out daily activities, and engage in satisfying relationships. Just those three, you know, you know the definition of what mental disorder or mental illness is. So when we don't seek help because we're scared, we have that stigma of mental health, then we're just not getting ourselves well to be where we need to be. Sometimes we take our brain away from the rest of our body. We may be feeling a leg ache, or we may be feeling something in our stomach, but we're thinking that the problem is in our stomach, but really it could start from our mind. So we just focus from our eyes, our ears down, and then we forget about our mind. So it's very, very important that we're holistic and that we, whatever attention, if we're not feeling well, you know, start with why is it that we're not feeling well and healthy? Addiction is very, very important to know about. You know, we can't turn to addiction and think that it's going to resolve everything. You know, these are just some of the risk factors that we don't want to go there. Suicide ideation, stress was mentioned earlier, isolation and loneliness. This is what brings our mind to be unhealthy. And this quote is really powerful: be a warrior, not a worrier. Next. Some more risk factors. Maybe there's health issues, maybe there's some violence, stable relationships. Right now with this pandemic, you know, a year ago this morning, I went to my central office. It's been 1 year ago since I took on a role at the Health Command Center. And when I went back, there was these feelings that I had when I walked into the building this morning to pick up paperwork for my office. And I just had those feelings, but it was really good that I was able to speak to one of the staff there to let go and be able to be okay and to make it to my office. So things like that, you know, things will come up. So these are some more risk factors: unresolved grief and loss, guilt, trauma, negative outlook on life. So those are some of the things that Shema, Dr. Nez covered earlier. So next. So for the sake of time, these are some of the protective factors. What makes us to embrace the treasure of a healthy mind, our family and social connections? Right now, you know, you know, we can still have that connection by text or by phone calls. You know, those are very, very important connections. Positive support system. Who can you turn to if you need some help? Your cultural connections, the way of life teachings, your spirituality and your belief. Very, very important. Again, exercise, plenty of rest, healthy diet, hobbies too. If some of you during the pandemic or during the lockdown or during stay-at-home orders, if you picked up something new to do, kudos to you, because you know, hobbies are it stimulates your brain, and you can have a lot of fun with that. Next. And then also feelings, you know, there's a whole bunch of mixed feelings that we're going through right now. Validate them, put a name to it. Some of those things, you know, sometimes somebody might ask us, how are you? And sometimes we just say good, but really, you know, you're feeling somehow, and it's okay to verbalize it and validate it. Sadness, anger, I'm motivated, I'm joyful, I'm happy. You know, I'm confused. Those are some feelings that we really sometimes don't even know how to name what we're feeling. So giving a name to it, you know, validates that, and you're aware of what your feelings are. Recognizing your strengths and building on those. Again, kinship, reverency, practicing self-care, relaxation, and developing that self-confidence. Next. And then here's some tools to discover the treasure of a healthy mind. Good communication skills, resources are going to be shared with us soon. Prevention, education, and awareness, especially about some of these things that are happening in our communities, in our lives, and across the country. What are some of those things that you can be open-minded? You can be open-minded and capture the information and share it with others, share it with your family, being a positive role model about just having that healthy mind. Honesty is very important, mutual respect. Be yourself. You're an individual, just be yourself, and that's what counts. Next. So this is the end of my presentation. Again, we do Division of Behavioral and Mental Health Services. We have a whole array of information on our Facebook page, Instagram. If you just tune in there, if you need information on grief and loss, we do presentations on that, and building communities of hope, being resilient, and coping with stress. All of that information is on our Facebook page. So and thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate the time that was given to me, and thank you, and enjoy your day.
Yeah, Alberta. Sister, thank you for your words this afternoon. You really lifted many of us. Dr. Nez, I just one thing I wanted to mention as we're taking just a brief moment here, we're going to move over to some of the questions in the chat are related to where do I find the resources? You have questions like that. So we're going to move over to mental health resources. But there's one thing I wanted to share with you, and I'm just going to read it really slow so that you all can take it in, okay? I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. A really great poet wrote that. Many of you probably know her. Her name is Maya Angelou. But I just wanted to share that with you as we move over to mental health resources. Adonana Shade, Alberta, there are some questions about the book Mindfulness that you mentioned. So if you could put that in the chat and let people know where you received it, I think that would also be very helpful. Okonanak Ade, Dr. Branzer Shiaja. Dr. Branzer, if you are online, we would like to go over to the mental health references and resources that we have available for our relatives.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So Michelle Branzer Yanishia Nasht Eja Nishle Kobajni Aji Bashichin Porachini Dashiche and Ado Kiani Dashinale. So I just wanted to let you know, like Yvonne was stating, and even that powerful statement by our poet that Maya Angelou wrote, is that we all need to reach out at some time in our life to be able to get that helping hand when needed. And we talked about but we wanted to do something with DBMHS and also with IHS 638, Navajo, other departments, social services, to really create something with our COVID-19 mental health resource. And so with the mental health task force and the community mitigation mental health work group, this is one of our projects. So it's a lot of collaboration, which I'm very grateful for. So we'll look at it really quickly. So as you can see, it is on the Navajo Department of Health. On the computer little part, it says ndoh.navajo.nsn.gov. And so when you get there, you'll see that COVID-19 tab, and then you'll click down to the mental health resources. And you should see this screen pop up right here. And it gives them good information. Obviously, like I said, with all of what we've been hearing about COVID is true. There's a lot of loss, sometimes a lot of anxiety, just stress in general. And so we wanted to make sure we put on this first part of the page, the national resources, meaning like the National Suicide Lifeline for veterans as well, and some people that can text or have access to phone. There's also ways to connect that way. And if you can scroll down a little bit here, you'll see our Navajo Nation mental health helplines. This has been up and running pretty much since, you know, the command center, you know, started. And what we wanted to do is within DBMHS have clinicians, licensed counselors, to be able to man these mental health helplines. And as you can see, we have some sites, I guess it's on our left side, that there's Monday 8 to 5 at these different numbers. We can call and ask for some assistance or more resources. And so we definitely have staff available to help with connection, referrals, to provide that listening ear, or just to you know, be your support throughout whatever you're going through. And then also after 5, we realize these things don't just happen during the regular work hours. So we have the after 5, again, our licensed clinicians have work phones. So that's what these numbers are, and you can reach out to them. And then again, if you need to reach out to multiple numbers, you know, that's okay too, because we will refer as needed to one another. And then we added, if you want to go down the page, Navajo area directory and resources. So if we click on the Indian Health Services information, the blue box you'll see there when you get on your computer or your phone, tablet, whatever device you have, we put it into different organization, kind of how it would look. So that first facility you're seeing is this Crown Point, I believe. So in there, it's giving the person that's the supervisor and the phone number, the email. If you need to know the address or fax number is there as well. So we listed that for all of the IHS, and this is for the mental health clinics, or we usually call it ENA counseling, that are within those hospitals or clinics. And you can keep going down. Tatsoy Medical Center, as you can see there, is one of our 638 hospitals. And so we do have Dr. Ba there. He's been a very wonderful person to connect with, and his staff to, and you know, they also at Tatsoy are open to getting any type of referrals as needed. Okay, so we'll scroll up a little bit more, and to the, after the, on the, again, your left, you'll see those blue boxes, and then you'll see IHS also has substance use program. Their substance use program is mainly like a care coordination referral type of service. So not necessarily will you get like counseling or treatment there, but they will help connect you usually to other outside entities or other treatment centers within Navajo, or even to us at DBMHS. They'll make those referrals. So look at Northern Navajo, I think was just right there. Where I'm sitting right now is just right across the street in Shiprock, and Arlene Piochi, she is their coordinator. So she works with Dr. Percy there. So that's typically what you'll find with the IHS substance use programs. And if we go up again to the blue box, and we've added the Social Services Navajo Treatment Center for Children and Their Families. And so if we click on administration, sometimes those are really needed if you're feeling like you're not reaching who you need to or want to. Maybe let's click on Chin Lee. So kind of the same format as we saw with IHS in the 638, giving you the information so you can contact and make sure that you are able to get the resources that you need. And so we listed all the different sites as well for the Navajo Treatment Center for Children and Their Families. Okay, so we'll go to the next box. We're going to community resource. And that's where we mainly put more of our public safety type resources. So you'll see the police departments as mentioned in a crisis, sometimes these are the folks you will really reach out to if it's a really high risk self-harm or any type of, you know, you need emergency like 911. These are the entities you can call or maybe reach out to. So all the police departments is there. And then you'll see the fire departments a little bit down below. And then you'll also see the fire departments within Navajo. And sometimes what I've realized is, you know, as we do know, sometimes it's hard to get through at times, but that doesn't mean stop. I would say if you are in those crises, please continue to reach out and we will make sure we can follow up with what's needed. Okay, the next area is us, the Division of Behavioral and Mental Health Services. As you know, we are substance use focused type programs. This is our website you'll see. So we just really connected our website to the mental health resources because we have a lot of locations. So if you go up furthermore, you'll see a tab, just keep going up a little more, locations, there you go. So click on Crown Point again, there's one of them we can look at. So right here, you'll see it shows where all of our locations are at. It also helps us to be able to, you know, due to COVID, you know, we are opening back up. Obviously, the nation is opening back up. So we are, I think people are realizing we are taking more referrals and doing what we can, but we are not having individual counseling right now or group counseling, but a lot of it is over the phone or telehealth type persons. And what's nice about this is it does like give you the map to it if you've never been to one of our treatment centers, or if you need to know the documentations to take there. The phone number is there, the address again, like I said, and then the picture actually. So if you haven't been there, you can know where you need to go. And that's for all of our sites. So we'll click out of that. Okay. All right, next we added our community health representatives. We know they do so much work in our communities, especially during this time of the pandemic. And again, they have their own website, as you'll see right here, but we want to make sure that you know you can reach out as well to them. So if you scroll down right here on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see their different service areas as well. And that will, when you click on that, it'll take you to those areas. Again, the address, who's your contact or the supervisor there if needed, and the phone number. So if you have needing to reach out to the CHRs, again, they've done a lot of research, a lot of work during this pandemic. We do rely on them quite a bit, but that is another really good resource that we have here in our screen. The next one resource, we wanted to put a couple of other resources that we found would be really helpful. The safety plan, if any of you have been maybe to counseling or one of our treatment centers, the safety plan is really just kind of what it states. If someone is really struggling, meaning like they don't have or see a reason that they want to keep going on, or really hurting and they feel like they don't know what their resources are, a safety plan just really helps walk through how to find the help and how to even write it down. And I appreciate what Alberta said with with the ways that you can look at your resources. I guess the safety plan is a more of a written form of that. And then also we have other apps that we put on here. And what that is you can click, as you say, click here, and you see that on the app, you can get these on your phone. So with this, you'll see like mood tools. And right now, this one is helping you just to know how to kind of manage if you're feeling depressed or if you need to find other ways to express that, to find coping skills. And there's the safety plan I had mentioned as well. They also come with some of these apps too. So it's really nice that we live in this technology age and we can find these apps as well. And this is the other one that we can highlight is Super Better. And that is just showing again, other ways that you can actually use it on your phone, even your laptop, your tablet, to find more ways to help get you into that better mindset. Okay, so we'll move on because I know there's running out of time too. The COVID-19 is just going to link you back into our Department of Health resources that we've had ongoing with the COVID-19. So, if you thought you wanted to share some of those flyers or resources, you can do that as well. And the last ones here, these bigger boxes that are darker blue, they are more of the state resources that are around Navajo. So Resilient Arizona, they have a crisis counseling program. And so here it lists a lot of information. I probably don't have all the time to go through it, but just know, you can reach out to them as well. And all their information is on that website. For New Mexico, we also on this side of New Mexico have the Crisis and Access Line. It is an app as well that you can download to your device. And it also gives a lot of great information. For Utah is the same. They have Utah Strong, and it lists all of those different resources, their crisis line. They included a worm line, veterans, all of that as well. And lastly, we're clicking on the PDF you can download and print out. So I'm going to show you a little bit here. It'll look like this. It basically is going to print out all the information that I just showed you on the website. And it gives a lot of great information. I'm sure we'll be updating it from time to time. So that really concludes what we put together for our resource booklet or directory as well. And I'm sure during these other town halls, or Hozho Mondays, we will review it as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Branzer. Thank you for sharing all that information for everybody. I saw a couple things in chat I wanted to share with you. Those of you that are asking, do I need a referral? What do I do? I encourage you, if you really need to talk to someone, please call one of the lines and they'll walk you right through what you need to do. They'll walk you through it. They'll tell you what they're going to provide. And we're really trying hard to make sure that, families don't have to talk to one person and another person and another person. We want to try to get you as many resources as we can, as quickly as we can. So I just wanted to let you know that on the computer or internet, maybe they don't know how. Those of you that are daughters and sons, nephews, nieces, or grandchildren, you can do this for grandma, grandpa. Help them if they have questions, because we have traditional practitioners at our Indian Health Service units. We have traditional practitioners and Navajo speaking staff at our 638 facilities, as well as our Division of Behavioral Mental Health Services, and also at social services too, Navajo Treatment Centers for Children and Families. How do you say it? The computer, something like that. I can't remember, but if they're not sure how to address it, please, assist them. What we wanted to do in this session and every session after this is we want to be able to share with you a concrete technique, a technique that you can use. So I'm going to ask you to, maybe your other devices that you're checking your text messages or something like that, stop for a minute and let's listen to my sister. I call her my sister because she's been so helpful throughout this entire time. So Dr. Riggs, please, let's share our technique.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. One of the things I love about working on the Navajo Nation is that people will call me their sister. Thank all of you for attending. And I also appreciate the Navajo Nation Mental Health Task Force asking me to participate. I work for the Indian Health Service in Red Mesa at Four Corners Regional Health. And today I'm going to teach you a simple exercise that you can do when you are feeling sad, worried, angry, or another strong emotion. Now, Teresa and Alberta have already taught you some great techniques, and I didn't know some of them. That hand is a great technique. Looking forward in the windshield is a great technique. Next slide. As you probably know, our minds are going all the time. They are full of lots and lots of thoughts and feelings, and these affect our behaviors. We can be aware of these or unaware of how they affect our actions. For the purpose of this exercise, we're going to talk about our feelings. The slide lists 7 of the most common feelings: joy, sadness, anger, shame, worry, fear, desire. There is nothing good or bad about any of these feelings. They are just feelings. Take fear, for example. Fear can keep us safe. That's why we wear face masks when we are around other people to stop the spread of COVID. Next slide. But fear can take over and leave us stuck. Think of the people you know who became obsessed watching the news about COVID and were unable to think or talk about anything else. Some of them still are stuck. The fear is so strong that it crowds out everything else. This can be normal for a while, such as grief when a loved one dies. But at some point, uncontrolled, strong emotions become problematic. With strong emotions, we tend to forget other people around us, and we stop paying attention. But we still have family. We still have loved ones. When a feeling takes over, we need to ask others for help, or we need to help ourselves. Next slide. Let's talk about when we can get stuck in a strong feeling. Generally, when there is trauma, loss, grief, or betrayal. This can occur at work, in our relationships, with our land and animals, money, or health. Next slide. The exercise I'm going to teach you is called sensory grounding. That's fancy language for using your senses to connect to the current moment and what's right in front of you now. It's using your senses to connect to Mother Earth and is a form of mindfulness. The goal is to seek balance and harmony by paying attention to what is happening in the moment. Before I go any further, I want to give special thanks to my Four Corners co-workers who helped me with my presentation: Jenny Hawkins, Cynthia Anderson, and Darlene Begay. Next slide. The exercise uses 7 senses: sight, taste, sound, touch, smell, dreams, and intuition. All of our senses are connected to our brain. Next slide. So how does this work? Use our senses to become unstuck from unhelpful thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. We connect to the here and now, this very moment, by paying attention to the world around us and within us. We can do this anywhere and anytime, and use it especially when you feel overwhelmed. It's something you can even do to frame your days, like the First Lady mentioned. We are going to do it right now in the middle of this Zoom session. So I want you to sit up in your chair, put your feet on the floor, rest comfortably. Take a deep breath. Notice the rhythm of your breathing. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time. In, out. Now think of a color that has meaning to you. I want you to take 1 minute to slowly look around wherever you are sitting and count how many times you see that color. Start now. Please come back into the Zoom session. I chose green. I counted about 20 objects. All I did was count objects. I didn't think about what was making me sad or worried or angry or any other feeling. All I did was count objects. What about you? What happens is when we are in the present moment, using our senses, we cannot think about anything else. Nothing else enters our mind for that time. Next slide. Here's how it works. If you want to, please take a picture of the screen so you have the instructions for the future. First, pick one of the 7 senses. Decide how you are going to explore it. Just choose one at a time so you can totally focus on it. Here are some exercises you can do for each sense. Sight. This is what we just did. Slowly look around you. Count how many objects you see that are a certain color or shape or some other characteristic. Taste. Slowly your food. What do you notice about its taste, its texture, even its temperature? Sound. Listen to the sounds around you. What do you hear? Are there sounds you didn't notice before? Even silence has a sound. Touch. Find an object to touch. What do you notice about how it feels against your skin? Smell. Breathe deeply through your nose. What smells do you detect? Find a calming one to smell. Do you smell cedar or sage or Alberta's rose? Dreams. Ask yourself what your dreams are telling you. Are they a reminder to pray for you, to be extra careful, to know your limitations? And finally, intuition. Pay attention to how your values and teachings affect what your intuition is telling you. Set aside a certain amount of time for this exercise. In the exercise we just did on site, we spent 1 minute. You might want to spend more time. Also, I suggest you try several different exercises, but just one at a time to find which are most helpful to you. Repeat as often as to seek balance and harmony. Next slide. Well, we're going to do another exercise. We have enough time. Let's do sound. Again, sit up in your chair, put your feet on the floor, rest comfortably. Take a deep breath. For the next 30 seconds, listen to the sounds around you. What do you hear? Remember, even silence has a sound. Start now. Please come back into the Zoom session. I noticed primarily the sound of the clock ticking on my wall. I normally don't hear it. In conclusion, sensory grounding. If you find yourself struggling with overwhelming thoughts, feelings, or behaviors, or are overly focused on the past or the future. Next slide. I hope each and every one of you finds balance and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rigg. That was very, very helpful. I'll spend some time talking with you about that later, about how it helped me. So I'm thankful that you provided that for everybody. Dwayne, Shanella, are you still online? If you could share with us one particular, maybe 2 sentences of encouragement for maybe 2 to 3 sentences of encouragement for our listeners, I'd really appreciate it. And then we're going to move over to the benediction with my brother, Leonard Chi. So as you can see on the screen here, as we move over to Dwayne here shortly, we are going to be back next Monday on the 22nd. And you can see all of the themes there on the flyer. We're going to be talking about positive thinking and sharing with you resources and different speakers each and every week. The following Monday, we're going to discuss resilience. And we also have on April 5th, faith and tradition. So I wanted to extend my invitation, our invitation, the team's invitation to each and every one of you. Join us this Friday, the 19th at 9 o'clock a.m. We're going to have the Navajo Nation Spring Day of Prayer. So please join us for that. We'll go ahead and post the flyers on DBMHS and OPVP sites. Dwayne, Shanella, want to share any last encouraging words? And then we'll move over to the benediction shortly thereafter.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just a little bit, just like to share a little bit of what I live by and what Shema Sunday, Shema Sunday. And she used to always say, Hajon Harchin, which Yada Ado Bijip de Nosha, Jon Harchin Kadabadone. Niltani sa do Traditin sa, Jo Hot A. Bayat eto, hut hudit do hut has Nilde, Shmasane no Yachitne. And those words is like a halana do ashina, sha wait she yaja, joke a day, the hajin had hanslni in lako, or you je a conton hitch is theatre, don't have kaist theatre. Do you je a big 800, dado big 800. Ako, always encourage one another. Hajo, karahido, nedo. Keda alata pelge hoda, alata shoot ilste hoda. encouraging you that we just mustn't you which in ni hut the houses and here yet on this case. But I kitchen nene to is it so ketos and the liquor to is that chand and nichen the also yes leko. Those are some of the things that I learned growing up around my parents. Do yo ikayapi college I grew up in Wyoming, Evanston, Wyoming, the and with these small teachings, my mom and my dad, especially my mom, so doesn't boss that's adults and boss when the heck as nassen, when the heck don't hassen. A quite or jeclota, dot I don't have this daughter, nation day. A koi with in the oshni, naishni boss not dashke, not dashsi, had it dean, so hit Asha, ik ebit, nedo hit Asha, be. Now some be gave bad as net, though I was cast be gave bad as net nation day. Okay, I just like to just say that much. A lot of people are going through a lot these times, and huge in Sinti's case. But just a kind word, yeah, the Kayahot, I just like to share that much, Shanella. Though I had the give me an opportunity. I was very honored. In this case, Kodosh National that not Kodosh National Lebe Yadashio. Ayoba Ahansen, Dot I a Hansen, a co, what I conhich Addis, Lako, Anshained. A had the Schnira.
Shanella Hihat Sago. Just thank you so much for your words of encouragement. I know it goes a long ways for those of us who are working, those ones that are on the front line, Adonana, to all our listeners and watchers. Ado, Kade, Shinai, Mr. Chi, are you online? Shanella, Mr. Chi? We might be having technical difficulties. Mr. Chi, are you online? Oh,
Teja, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Really quickly, in interest of time, I just want to, first of all, thank all the presenters, all the healthcare workers, professionals, and practitioners out there. That you all did a good job. I listened to the whole presentation, so it's very, very needed. I know that we're addressing the aftermath of the COVID-19, and it's always been on my thought that we need to address the mental health and the wellness of our people, because we have various groups. You have the victims, those that survived it and survived the virus. They still have continuing health issues. Some have lost their jobs, and there's lack of money, income coming in. And in talking to a lot of them, they were like in isolation during the time of their illness at the hospital. And then even after returning home, the isolation that they experienced is just, it's remarkable how they survived. And then you have the families that have lost a loved one, that are missing those loved ones. And then some families are left without jobs now. And then you have your elders that are at home right now, and they're missing their children, grandchildren at the Hasato, the and then you have your off-res people that want to go home, visit grandma, parents, and others, but they couldn't. So even that sense of isolation or being kept from your homeland is really is a real issue out there. Then you have your children that are out of school. They miss their friends, and some probably get bored at home. And then the online instruction, in my opinion, is very ineffective. There's no one-on-one relationship or teaching with instructors that goes on into our government operation online. Though Zoom meetings, no, not ahande, not aninde, yego, not echo. Those are things that come to mind. The other one is the healthcare providers, the workers that have been over a year now on the job, working overtime and just giving their best every day. And they're tired and some are fatigued and some have gotten sick from it and they're stressed. So how do we reach out to them as well? Oh yeah, Iban case the presenters are Muslinigi, and then the depression that sits in because you don't have a job no more. You're isolated, you're lonely, you're stressed out, you're fatigued. But that thank you. Let's continue to address that. And then I'm not schooled or I'm not don't hold any credentials in mental health professions, but just some personal comments that I want to share with the listeners, and that is through my experience. You know, these are some things that really helped me cope with my losses. And some of you might know, in 9 months, I lost my wife of 40 years and both of my parents in 9 months' time. And it's a big loss in my life. And how I'm able to still stand today is through prayer. So listen, though your faith, whatever faith you come from, is very important. It helped me. The other one is family. You know, talk with your families, trust a family member, share your inner thoughts and feelings, and then also trusted friends always help. And then also seeking professional help through the mental health care providers, Navajo Nation or IHS, or even your private insurance if you have it. That's what you pay into, and let them pay their share of your well-being to get well. The other one is family time. You do your family call-ins, your Zooms, your texting, your Facebooking. It really helped me. The other one is hobby. Find another hobby or pick up again another hobby you had before. Gardening, pets, ranching. A kid, surround yourself with good people that have good thoughts, you know. Stay away from those that always complain and they're just negative about everything. Those people don't help you at all. But find friends, relatives that really stand with you and love you. That's what carries me every day. So I want to say that. Lastly is through I'm representing IHS. We have the 3 W's is wash your hands, watch your space, and wear your masks. So let's pray, and then I'll conclude your presentation. But thank you for having me. So that it is and it any clean blast lie in him lie on Satabonil Ashland teach you can't get conde Nashin Zail and Lindo in Dal Nesto conde Blanche Dios and that we can't deal with Zail and Linigi, but Zilon that it least or a chair that taking that tinny dance that antinant anahol arge, so that is in. I don't hit Kate or you tit up at the yagi, just kind of the bitchin the whitna at the Bestahotinato at the Alay of Danella. Aletish and Anna Tolana Dansen Obenan Standard or Kate a day in Abobashin, yet the Haliana and the Yazadash, Botasling, 20,000, even not as short in the can yet. Teach. But zero and the cost. DJ non-zero less. If you need nani bana, need aid or less in Hashin, it's all can he not care. He gave us but your body that I showed the Yetro by needs in the hair consonant First Lady, the Second Lady, the Shitbezi, the con. That's it. Iniki, because the Lito, the Betri Loles, Hinandada, Bandaika, Consequay, Hadasi, don't today case Loles, don't have Hilian Conde. Peter, the yacht, Hinsney, Naho, could only. Adot ego nanel deto les nitsunigi be nika lieta sonde halan hajo baye even my nikadi los borni nje ayot yini be so that in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Desiad. Bye.
Thank you to Shania for being with us and being our partner and always being there to assist us individually. And just thank you for your words always. Always a person I look up to. Adonana those that have been listening to us this afternoon. I really appreciate all your time and effort, all your comments. Again, take a look at the website. And if there's some information there that you find helpful for you, your friends, your family, your children, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, please take some time out to visit that website and see what's applicable to you. Those that are on the call with me today, First Lady, Second Lady, Shada, Adoshi Yajado Shadanana, Ahyahat Sago Shanele. Thank you very much for taking your time today to be with our friends, and to each and every one of you that are watching. We truly love you. We care about you. We want you to be the best that you can be each and every day. And what it takes to do that is healthy mind, healthy thinking, healthy body,